So I bought this top handle this week and I was really excited to use it. But I used it very shortly. And then I put it back in my bag because, you know, that's where your stuff goes. And then it just like this is oop. The hot shoe plant came off. I paid $30 for this. I have lights now. How sick is that? Does this not look a whole lot better? I think it does. Anyway, let's do the video. These are my 5 beginner tips for photographers. But wait, before you go, this is not just for beginners. These tips will help beginners. Some of these things I only learned like a year ago and I'm 6 years into my photography career. So stay. Okay. It's gonna start basic, but the last one will get more complicated, I promise. Okay, so the first one, learn how to use manual on your camera. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen photographers that just shoot on auto and wonder why their photos aren't what they want them to be. I have seen wedding photographers who just shoot entirely on auto and then have their clients come back and say that they're not happy with the photos and they can't tell them why. If you don't have a proper understanding of the exposure triangle, how your aperture will affect your depth of field, how your shutter speed will affect the motion in your image, you need to learn. And there's hundreds of tutorials online. I am making one very soon, but that's gonna take a little while because it's relatively complicated for a new person. But trust me, it will be so worth it. Tip number 2, don't be one and done. If you found an interesting subject that you want to take a photo of, don't just take one, take at least 5. For me, every time you do it, think of me, 5. If you're taking less than that, you're very likely missing what is known as the decisive moment. Sure, your subject could be interesting. You could have found an interesting subject and it's this very lovely old lady sitting in a park bench with ducks all around her. And you snap a quick picture and you move on. But what if immediately after that she threw some breadcrumbs and the ducks all flew up into the sky and it was the most amazing image ever and you got into Time magazine? It's all those little moments that you need to catch as a photographer. And that's why you need to take more than one photo. On a more basic level though, as a beginner, you very likely don't have a very firm grasp on what your exposure settings are yet. And you're still learning, and that's okay. You're allowed to still be learning. That's a part of the process. But you need to get to a point where you can just take those photos quickly. Having that habit that started as making sure that you got the right exposure has now become learning to get that decisive moment. And it's something that will stick with you throughout your entire photography career. Number 3. For the love of God, learn how to edit. 50% of your photo is in camera. The image that you take, that's 50% of it. That's not even the actual photo. That's the building blocks for your photo. Your actual photo comes out in Lightroom or in Bridge or in Photoshop, wherever you are editing. That's where your creative vision for that image comes out. This photo that I hang up didn't start as a black and white image. It started as this, which by all means is not a good photo. But through the editing, I could bring to life what I saw in that moment. And that's the important part. Your camera cannot capture what your eyes see. A, because your eyes have a much higher dynamic range than your camera, in the sense that your camera can only expose for the highlights or the shadows, whereas your eyes are exposing for everything at all times. But B, you're looking at things through your own lived experience, through everything that you have accomplished in your life up until this point. And that's going to influence how you see an image. And through editing an image, you can create that. You can make that image how you saw it in that moment. And that's the importance of editing. And learning how to edit is difficult, but it is an artistic process and it's something that you kind of need to do yourself. You can watch other people edit, you can watch videos, you can do whatever you need to do, but it is an intrinsic process, very similar to painting. You just need to start doing it, and the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you are going to get at it, I promise. Number 4, practice your manual focusing. The amount of times that I have missed an image because of my camera's autofocus is insane. Do not rely on it. That being said, you can use it as a tool to help you, but you need to be very, very aware of it. You cannot rely on it. You need to be watching it like a hawk. It is not taking that photo for you, you are. You need to check that focus. Once you've taken the photo, look at it. Make sure that everything is in focus, because if it's not, that is your photo that's gone. The camera is just focusing on what is either moving the fastest or has the highest contrast in the image. So, don't trust your autofocus. Use it as a tool that can help you, not the be all and end all of your focusing. And last but not least, number 5, don't get stuck on one focal length. This is one that hits really close to home for me, and I've never seen anyone else talking about it. I only shot on 50mm for 2 years, and it was fantastic for my career, and it was great for me learning how to use my camera and use my legs, more importantly, because I was relying too much on zoom. But it came to a point where I didn't know how to take photos with any other focal length. I had to switch back to another focal length for a project that I was working on, and I had no idea what to do. I was completely out of my depth. I just wanted to run and hide and go back to my 50mm and take some really nice photos with shallow depth of field that looked really, really pretty, but that's not what my client wanted. And I had to learn again. Whereas it was something that I knew intrinsically at the beginning, I had gotten so stuck on using that one singular type of lens that I couldn't do anything else. So don't do what I did. If a project demands a different lens, use it. Don't get stuck on one lens. That's it. That's all my photography tips. Well, my beginner photography tips. I'm gonna get some more complex ones going in a little bit, but I hope that that helped you in some way, or that you learned something. I tried to include things that I haven't heard other people talking about, so I guess I hope that that worked. Yeah. If you feel like you learned something and you want to keep learning and you want to keep following me on this journey of figuring out YouTube and how all this sort of thing works and making my videos prettier and nicer and more fun to watch for you guys, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. You'll see when I post, and it would mean the entire world to me if you would follow me on this journey. Awesome. Thanks for watching.